Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to my very first space I've done in quite some time. This is one I just wanted to mess around with for a little bit, just to see, have a conversation with people about whether or not, there's a movie out there you want to see again for the first time, a movie out there you wish you could go back to the theaters and absolutely just re-experience. I've been thinking a lot about this kind of stuff for a while, just because it's like the older I get, the more I think back to movies I saw when I was a kid and movies I watch now. And I can't help but think to an extent, like it would always be a little bit better if I could go back and see something again for the first time. One of the things I did 2 weeks ago is I went and I saw the new Avatar re-release, right? The remaster. 13 years after it came out, they up-resed it to 4K UHD with brand new surround sound, or a new remaster, if you will, on the sound. And they put it in theaters again for 2 weeks, and I took my dad to go see it. And one of the reasons why this is kind of a significant thing, one of the reasons why I want to bring it up, has a lot to do with the fact that when I think about where I was in December of 2009, when I woke up that morning and I went to go see the very first showing of Avatar that day. I remember walking in, having seen 20 minutes of it at Comic-Con the previous summer, knowing that we were going to be getting something absolutely fun, absolutely amazing, and definitely James Cameron. But what I didn't expect was the visual journey that that movie was going to take me on. Having never seen anything like that in 3D IMAX before, or just 3D before, I mean, it completely and utterly changed the game. And in some ways for the better, and some ways for the worst. You know what I mean? Like Avatar is one of those movies that I defend pretty frequently, and ever again, having just seen it again in 3D IMAX, it's one of the ones that I just really enjoyed. The movie definitely has some story problems, but it's still very, very, very enjoyable, and it's one I can't wait to dive back into on home video, because the older I've gotten, 3D has kind of had a lesser impact on me. It's just, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm 40. I'm a type 2 diabetic. Type 2 diabetes does have an impact on your vision after a while. 3D technology has definitely gotten better, but it hasn't gotten to a place yet where I personally feel that it's been able to really kind of like be worth the value. And I say that because when I actually paid money to go and watch Avatar, it cost me $45 for 2 tickets to go see that fucking movie. $45 to go see that movie in 3D IMAX. Was it a valuable experience? Sure. Did I get my money's worth? Sure. Do I feel like it would have been better if I would have, like, I don't know, like maybe been a little bit like less expensive? Absolutely. But also, just because I don't know how I sound to you guys right now. I'm trying a new microphone. I also have headphones on for my phone. So if you guys can hear me okay, there's a chat feature down there. Let me know. Or Caden, if you could pop in and let me know how I sound, that'd be great, because you can listen to it. But that's kind of my whole point with this. I just kind of want to see, like, if there's a movie out there you guys wish you could go back and watch again for the first time. Something that's either has a very big significance in your life, or something that has a very big significance in your film going experience. Like, what is it about movies that gets you so enthralled, so excited, and so happy to go and spend the money to go and watch them and everything else? For me, it's a very much the experience of being able to just like lose myself in something for 2 hours, to be taken on this epic, amazing journey. Maybe not always epic or amazing, but just something that speaks to me in a way that I've been either looking for or missing out on, or it just completely blindsides me. Because that's one of the things out there when we watch movies, that you never really know what you're going to get when you go in, right? Because this is the thing nowadays too. If you watch trailers, and I do love trailers, but let's be perfectly, fervently fucking honest about trailers. They show too much, right? We all know this. We all complain about this. You watch a trailer for a movie and you think to yourself, holy shit, they just showed off everything. Holy crap. Like, what's the point of even going to the theater at this point? Because they've already shown everything. They've already given away the plot, given away the twist, given away the final shot of the fucking movie, which has happened in a couple of things, actually. What was it? Castaway, right? Zemeckis's Castaway. If you go back and you watch the first trailer for Castaway, It shows literally the last shot in the movie, in the trailer, of Tom Hanks at a crossroads, and he's like at the field and whatnot. And he, like it's the last shot in the movie. Which way should he go? Should he take the package that that was going to go to the woman that he'd been holding on to, his one saving grace for his sanity for 5 years? Does he want to see what's in the package? Do we as the audience want to see what's in the package? Does he go off another direction? Does he run back to Helen Hunt and try to get her back? I mean, like, there's so many questions at the end of that movie that you definitely find yourself like, wondering like what they should do. And they leave it ambiguous like that for a reason, obviously to be thought provoking. But again, trailer showed all that information. And maybe not 100% of the context, but still you're like, that feels like it's the last shot of the movie. Or in other movies where we've seen some of the advertisements have been relatively misleading. Or, I mean, well, case in point, look at the 2015 Comic-Con Suicide Squad trailer. That trailer, I was in the room when that trailer came out. I was there watching it when that trailer came out. Like when they showed it and it looked amazing. And then I get home from Comic-Con and I see that there's a leaked version of the trailer out there. And a lot of people it's a shitty quality. It's shot through a potato because it's, that's what happens in Hall H. People without video skills actually shoot these trailers, and then we're left to kind of decipher them through a very skewed lens, if you will. But, that trailer was not meant for public consumption. It leaked out there, and a lot of people, kind of made a big noise about it. And the studio came out and they said, okay, here's the trailer. And it kind of blew up. People wanted to see the Joker. Now, I personally, to an extent, can't quite think of, like, I can't quite discount or discredit the idea, the notion that stuff is not studio planned. You know what I mean? Like, okay, think about that for a second. You go to one of these events, 6,500 people, they're told repeatedly throughout the course of the entire convention, every time they go to Comic-Con, you guys are in Hall H. You guys are the first of the first. You, the true mega fans, you have waited in line for days. It is up to you now to come and enjoy, like that kind of shit, right? And then they show it, but obviously fans out there are going to want to see it. They want those 6,500 people, the journalists in the room, the media that's there. They want everyone to chatter. They want everyone to chatter. They want everyone to run up and shout to the heavens how cool something was and how much you got to see it. And you know what? As the internet started to advance, as the internet started to grow into what we know it is today, that room ultimately got smaller and smaller and smaller. It really did. The room itself ended up getting, like more and more people were just like recording it, putting it up there. There's a YouTube channel called Flicks in the City that will do it. There's other channels that travel to every convention and they go and they shoot all those things. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is like, it's just everything is smaller. All the information gets out there faster, and we all want to know what it is and instantaneously know what it is. And that ends up being something that I do think is really interesting, because when we think about the process of information, when we think about the information we get now on a movie, everything has to almost be somewhat like given to us on a silver platter, like, and I've said this, I'll bring up Black Adam. I'm not criticizing the movie, but I've said, if Henry Cavill is in the fucking movie, they got to just come out and show it. They got to show it in the trailer. They got to have the announcement. They just got to do it. And there are people out there who disagree with me, and they have every right to disagree with me. And their points are valid. Even their points of saying like, no, don't spoil, don't spoil, don't spoil. It will, you don't want to ruin the surprise. But the way I see it, the way I keep saying it, the way I keep pushing it is, all things considered, when you do this, when you watch this stuff, like, you want to know. If you watch modern day trailers and you ask yourself why they show as much as they do, it has a lot to do, believe it or not, with the idea that we want to know what's in these things. And I'm just wondering if we've been burned so many times as moviegoers, or maybe not so much that. Maybe it's not burned. I don't know if necessarily burned is the right word, because as most people who know me know, when I go to watch a movie, I go for entertainment. I want to be entertained. I'm very easily entertained, and that's how I am as a person. But I think one of the things with that though is like, how many times have we gone in and been absolutely positively underwhelmed by our own previous expectations going into the movie? And I think that's something that a lot of us need to kind of, quarrel with internally. We need to actually sit there and go, okay, this is who we are. This is what we like. And when I'm getting excited for something, am I improperly or unfairly building it up in my head? So when you go see it, it will never live up to your expectations. And again, when we talk about seeing the movies again for the first time, I'm talking about like movies where you had no expectations going in, right? Where you had no expectations going in. Like, for example, I'll give you guys an example where I was wrong. Deadpool 2016. I was so excited for Deadpool 2016 that I consumed every fucking ounce of marketing that I could do. I consumed every available piece of information, every available trailer, every available poster, every available fucking marketing material bit they put out. I thought Ryan Reynolds did a fantastic job marketing that movie, and it had me hook, line, and sinker. For better or for worse, I was in that movie. So then when I went to go see it, because I had consumed so much of the marketing, my expectations were not met. They weren't met because I'd already seen so much of what I felt they showed of the movie in the trailers. And if you go back and you look at the trailers for that movie, and I mean really go back and look at them and put them side by side with each other and as well as the movie itself, you'll see that they show off the opening action sequence. We know that from the leaked footage. The shootout on the bridge, like the bigger shootout on the bridge. We know about that. That was in the marketing, right? Oh, I see he wore his brown pants so people can't see him shit himself. Good thing I wore my red pants. Or no, I'm fucking that one up. Like, oh, I wore my red pants so they can't see me bleed. Good thing he wore his brown pants. Like we saw all of that in the trailer. We saw a lot of that in the trailer. Playing with the X gonna give it to you, playing with all this shit, right? And it's fun. It's good. But when I saw the movie for the first time, these are things I had expected, the jokes I had expected. These are things that I had known were in the movie because they were heavily, heavily, heavily marketed to me. So when I got done watching it, I was like, oh, that's it. That's the movie. Oh, okay. I mean, it's good, but like, yeah, all right, okay, whatever. Wasn't something that I really felt I had to kind of like, I was like, all right. It was entertaining, but not anything I felt like utterly connected to. I didn't even, I think the review I probably wanted to give it back then was, like 6 or 7 out of 10, right? Like, yeah, it was okay. It was okay. But then a couple nights later, I end up watching a cam copy of the movie because one of those, I'm surfing around the web and I come across one of those links. I think it was probably on Reddit, and it was all like Deadpool 2016 cam copy. And I'm like, oh, I want to see how the quality is. So I check out the quality, and of course, I want to rewatch the opening scene and rewatch the gun shootout and everything else. But then I found myself just watching the rest of the movie. And I had no preconceived expectations at that point. I'd already seen the film. I knew I was entertained by it, but I started just watching it again. And now I could analyze the movie. I could analyze the things that I hadn't seen before. And I could listen and I could pay attention. And it's like the other day when I called out people who, these trailer reaction channels, people like Soups. I always say, watch what they do outside of the heavy action sequences. They're still analyzing the data. They're trying to figure out what they're watching for the very first time, if it is in fact the very first time that they're seeing it. Most of the time, I'd argue that's probably not the case. They probably already watched it a couple times and figured out when to react in order to have the optimal reaction. That being said, watching this movie for the second time, and even though it was a terrible copy of it, I found myself enjoying it a lot more. So then the next weekend rolled around, and I asked my girlfriend, I said, hey, do you want to go see Deadpool with me? And she goes, all right. She wasn't even like, she wanted to see it, but she wasn't like super, super into it or anything else. So then we go see Deadpool. It's my third time watching it in a week. It's her first time watching it. And I'm like, oh man, oh dude, I'm excited for this. I want to see what her reaction is. I'm now watching the movie. I'm getting a lot more out of the movie. I'm seeing the heart. I'm seeing what Tim Miller brought to it. I'm seeing what Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese brought to it, what the cast brought to it. I'm getting all of that. And then, but I'll tell you for me what I want to see again for the first time on that one. It's not that I want to see the movie for me. It's that I want to witness my girlfriend's reaction because my girlfriend didn't really react to like 90% of the movie. She just kind of sat there, stone faced. And I'm like, did she watch the marketing like I did? Because I knew she watched it. But I'm thinking like something's going on here. Like it's just either it's not clicking with her. And it wasn't until the fight scene right outside of the helicarrier when he spells out the name Francis with the dead bodies that she lets out this just audible guffaw, right? This audible guffaw. And when that happened, she was in the movie. Sure, it was like 90% into the movie. But we walked out of that movie and she's like, oh my God, it was perfect. I loved it. Can't wait to watch it again. But that's the one I'm talking about here, though. It's like movies out there you want to see again for the first time. I don't necessarily just mean from the perspective of like your first time watching it, but maybe your first time really seeing it and really getting what it is. But I see that we're getting a request to come on in. Hey, how's it going, Super Jeff? Oh, you got to unmute yourself, man. All right, he hasn't unmuted himself yet. So when he does, he can do that.
Hi,
Oh,
hey, I'm so sorry. What's up, everybody?
hey, how's it going, man? All right, he hasn't unmuted himself yet. Oh, so he does.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was just playing the continent, and I was like, so sorry. What's
yeah,
up,
we're getting
everybody?
a lot of
Hey,
we're
how's it
getting
going?
feedback. He hasn't unmuted himself yet.
That's cool.
He does.
Yeah,
No, I don't know. I don't know if that's me or if that's you. Do you have the sound on in the background? We're getting feedback.
yeah, that was. Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, that should be better.
Yeah, that was. I was just listening.
Cool, man. So let me ask you then, what's a movie that you want to see for the first time? See again for the first time.
Shoot, the first time want to see it for the first time, I probably say we got seen. Okay, I remember seeing Deadpool for the first time, and I would love to see that again because that was a great kick-ass film.
It was. I was just talking about my time watching it, but like, what about when I don't know how old you are, you know? So it's like, but what about when you were a kid? Is there a movie that ever kind of like really spoke to you as a kid that just kind of blew you away and you'd love to see that again?
Casper, I saw
Really?
yeah, Casper. I remember seeing that in theaters when I was about
That was like 96, I think.
95.
90, Jesus Christ. Oh, I was in middle school, right? So I was in middle school then. Actually, no, my I took a girl to go see that, and the very first girl I kissed, I took her to go see that. Actually, she's crazy now. That's a thing. She's
Wow.
nuts. But yeah, oh yeah, oh, total anti-vaxxer, everything. It's crazy. But good times. Still remember
Yeah.
Casper.
Yeah.
But no, but Casper's a good movie. Casper's a fun film. I remember going to see it and like having the Mel Gibson and Clint Eastwood cameo as well as Dan Aykroyd from Ghostbusters popping on in and making a bit of a
Yeah.
joke. That was always a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like that scene, especially when he's like, uh, who you gonna call? Someone
Yeah,
else.
somebody else. Exactly, exactly. I forgot about that. It's been a while since I've seen Casper. I wonder if that's streaming anywhere right now.
I think
Let's see, Casper, 1995, streaming. Let me see. It is currently available to watch for free on Tubi,
to
or
be
if you
honest.
have Peacock, or it's on Hulu as well, which I do have.
Is it
So
I
I'll
think
have
it's
to
on
get.
Peacock too, because I think I saw it on Peacock.
Yeah, I just find it funny. I always thought that, like, for some reason, I always thought that Casper was like, so he was played by Devon Sawa, right? Like he
Yeah.
was yeah, but it wasn't his voice. His voice was somebody else. And I always thought when I was a kid, I'm like, man, like that Devon Sawa guy, he knows what's going on, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's in everything these days. And then of course after that we have not seen much out of, well, he's I guess in Chucky at this point, from what I've been seeing.
Yeah, he was. Yep. That's the last time I saw him was on Chucky.
It's definitely I haven't watched that show myself. But I mean, so okay, so Casper's one that you liked. What's another one that you'd like to go back to?
Let's see. Okay, well, let's see. The next movie I went to see when I was a kid was 101 Dalmatians.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So the Glenn Close movie.
Yeah, that's the one, the Glenn Close one.
Yeah, that's definitely a fun one from back in the day. I was actually just watching that one again with my kids not too long ago. And that one is interesting to me just because, like I prefer, see, I'm a big fan of the original animated movie.
Me too.
That was a
Yeah, I
big
love
one
the
for me
animated
growing up.
ones. Yeah, that's
And
my favorite one too. Yeah,
so it's like watching the original and then going and watching the 90s version of it and whatnot. I remember I was watching it for the first time on home video, and I'm watching it with my kid sister. And I think I was like talking with my stepdad or something, and it gets to the point of when like Jolie Richardson and Jeff Daniels, like they're making out on a couch, and like they fall down indicating that they've had sex, right?
right.
And I just said they're gonna have sex because I was like a teenager, and then my stepdad's like, "Shut the fuck up." And then I'm all like, I'm watching the movie again, and it gets to that part, and I'm just like, oh yeah, they totally had sex. Like I got it. I was there. I figured it out. I was right all those years ago. That's how it works out. But it's just those kind of things to me are always like funny to go back and watch those movies. Like for me, I mean, like I remember one of the greatest double features I ever saw in theaters was I was God 8 years old, whatever, right, and somewhere around there, and I went with my cousins, my two older cousins, to go and see. It was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure,
Oh, nice.
and and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, that's my movie. I love Roger Rabbit. That's my all-time favorite.
So that was definitely a lot of fun. And everything. H Barts is listening, and he says he would love to rewatch Lord of the Rings again for the first time. Now H Barts, is it the extended edition or theatrical? There you go on that one. But we do have one. We have Stylus here, wanting to jump on in. What's going on? Oh, it's Nick. What's up, dude?
Hey, Nick.
He's okay. He's muted. I think everyone comes on and muted. I don't do a lot of these spaces, so I'm still trying to figure it all out. But but yeah, like those were. I remember you going to like this little theater. It's the Mount Tabor Theater in Portland, and then going and seeing that with my cousins and just having a great old time, you know. And then I was actually even today I was at my dad's house talking to my younger brother, and I had mentioned uh Chippendale Rescue Rangers, the movie that just came out a few months ago. And
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, did you watch Rescue Rangers?" And he's all like, "No, but I know about Ugly Sonic." And I'm like, "Dude, you got to watch Rescue Rangers, man. Like it's the new fucking Howard. It's all right. It's the new um, what's it called? The new Roger Rabbit is
Yeah,
what it is."
basically.
I almost said Howard the Duck.
Oh my gosh. Wrong movie.
Well, I mean, I would absolutely go see Howard the Duck again.
Yeah, that hard. Yeah, I like Hard Luck too. That's a good movie too.
Although I'll fully admit, like it would hit a little differently now than it did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because like when I was a kid, I was all like, yay! Oh, it's a talking duck. That's awesome. And then as an adult, I'd be like, wow, there's duck titties. Okay, that's a new one. There's some duck titties. There's a duck Playboy. Again, duck condoms. Very adult. Tim Robbins, kind of weird. And then of course Jeffrey Jones is in that movie. as the
Oh
bad guy. And later on, Jeffrey Jones got busted doing some pretty sus shit.
yeah. Oh man,
So
yeah,
we haven't seen him in a long time. But that being said, I mean, plus also you know, Leah Thompson
yeah. Leo Thompson.
in that
Yeah,
movie.
I liked her in
I'll
Back
tell
to
you.
the Future.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll tell you. There's like you know they say that like you can kind of tell at some point in time your own sexuality. I For me it was when I was watching Big Trouble in Little China for the first time, and I saw Kim Cattrall, and I was all like, like I was 5 and just like I love her,
Yeah.
and I still remember that. I still remember that to this day of just like Kim Cattrall going like, "Hoi, going, 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 going," just and it hasn't gone away. Like she's still like one of the hottest women ever, And so, but Leah Thompson was very much in that category as well, which is really funny when you think about like just kind of how we view, like the women, like the actresses in this particular case, like how like they are over sexualized, and not so much Kim Cattrall in Big Trouble. I mean, you could say Mannequin would maybe be a better representation of that. But fuck that. I liked her. I liked her as the intrepid reporter.
Oh yeah, true.
But Nick, are you gonna come on, man? You gonna come on? You gonna say something? Since he's still okay, we'll get to him. H Parts here says that he wants to see the extended edition, but never having seen the theatrical beforehand. So that's the first thing he wants. That's the first thing he wants is to see. I get that. I get that. What's going on, Nicky? There, man? Are you having trouble? Okay, man. Great, man. Great. Yeah,
Oh,
I can
welcome.
hear you.
Yeah, I've been a long time listener, and man, the movies I can think of like right off the top of my head, and I posted them a little while ago, like Spider-Man 3.
Really?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see. Oh,
Okay,
yeah, I
okay.
see
I'm looking at your list right here. I'm looking at your list right here.
yeah,
You say Spider-Man 3, which now, okay, here's my question. Here's my question on that one.
yeah.
Are you talking just Spider-Man 3 in general or like IMAX edition?
No, no. Spider-Man 3. I live out in San Francisco, so we have this really cool theater called the Metreon, but it has a lot of actually, no, not even Spider-Man 3. V for Vendetta, the first R-rated movie I ever saw.
Oh, all
The
right.
very
That was
first.
definitely that was the very first one.
Yeah, that was
classic.
a
I like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a birthday gift from my mom.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
How
and
old were you in 2006?
12.
Oh, okay. You fuckers are young.
Yeah, and we did not know
I was
anything.
24 when that came out.
Yeah, we didn't know anything about the story or what it was about. All I knew it was the poster, and the poster looked cool, and I was like, "Oh my God, I really want to see this movie." And we went opening weekend because it was my birthday, and loved it. Loved the movie, and it was easy to follow. I know that the comic and the movie are kind of separate on some things, if not most things, but it was fun. It was enjoyable. It had a good message. But yeah, loved it. And
Oh yeah,
even got the 2 disc special edition like when it came out.
nice, nice. I bought it when it came out as well. One of the best things I think that came out of V for Vendetta was the Natalie Portman gangster rap that was on SNL.
Yes.
And what I remember, it was so funny though because that came out in 2000 and was it 2006,
6.
but it wasn't until 2009 that the Lonely Island released the uncensored version, because beforehand you could only get the censored version that was on SNL, and it wasn't until the Lonely Island's the first album came out that they had the Natalie Portman rap on there, and that was great. Like, but
Yeah.
it's funny either way. But I mean, I remember like because I was working at the drive-in, and so we got V for Vendetta, and even the summer before at Comic-Con, I remember that they gave us Guy Fawkes masks at
Really?
Comic-Con. They were promoting it there, but I don't really I think we saw a trailer and like I don't remember much else, to
Hmm.
be honest with you. But I remember getting the Guy Fawkes mask because there was a picture my friend had taken of or I took a picture of my friend. He was wearing my mask, and he had put a cigarette in the mouth, and like that was the thing because I was a smoker back in '05. And but no,
Did they give you guys
we
all
really
wigs and hats?
no, they just gave us the mask,
Oh,
But and this is before, and this is absolutely before we saw, you know, anything but this is before like it became like the face of Anonymous,
yeah.
right? So it was I had a Guy Fawkes mask before it was cool,
Hmm.
and even then I don't even know if it was ever cool.
Yeah.
It's the H bar here says the first R-rated movie I saw in theaters was Hangover 2.
Hmm. But let me tell you a movie
Hangover
that I
2
would
was
like to
was,
go
was a fun
back
one.
and see, but it was a bad movie. It was like a really bad movie. The
I like the first
Lighthouse.
one.
The Lighthouse
Yes.
with
Yeah.
Pattinson and Willem
Yeah,
Dafoe.
I really wanted to see it because it looked actually interesting. This was the first A24 movie I ever saw. I went to a pre-screening. I think it was Playing with Fire with John Cena. I wanted to go see it just because John Cena was in it. That movie was terrible. But I was like, you know what? Let me sneak in and go see The Lighthouse. And then it was like, oh my God, I've never been on my phone in a theater more than when I saw that movie. People were
Yeah.
walking
Wow.
out. Like it was boring. But I stuck with it.
That you're like, I'm in it to win it,
Yeah.
man. I'll
I
get there
wanted to
eventually. When I
I felt
was
so ripped off. I wanted to ask the people, I wanted to ask the poor teenagers in the box office for my money back, even though I never even paid to go see a movie that day.
well, I mean, like that happens. I remember back in God, 2002, I think is when it was. Was it my friend and I went to go see Road to Perdition, the
Yeah.
Tom Hanks movie. And as we were walking out of Road to Perdition, there was this line of people that were lined up for a special screening. And we walked by and we're like, "Hey, what are you guys watching?" And they're like, "Oh, we're here for a pre-screening of Eight-Legged Freaks." And we're like, "Oh, that's cool." And then like a lady was there. She's like, "Do you guys want tickets?" And we're like, "Yeah, we got nothing else going on." So we just went and got back in line and we went and saw Eight-Legged Freaks. So I thought that was a lot of fun. I'll tell you this though, for me, I don't remember I think the very first R-rated movie I saw in theaters. Um, well, I mean, it depends. Are we talking like theater here, or can we say drive-in?
Oh, me?
Because it kind of like, well, I mean, just in general, it just kind of goes either way, I
Um,
guess. But because I remember like when I went to go see, my family went to go see, I think it was like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in '95 at the drive-in, and I just walked over to like to the other screen with my lawn chair and my headphones and tuned in, and because they were showing Species and Judge Dredd. So my family's watching fucking Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I think it was First Night,
wow.
the Richard Gere, Sean Connery movie. And then I just walked over and watched Species and Dread. But then even when I was 15 in 1997, I think wait, hold on. When did Crow City of Angels come out?
Oh, 96.
Crow. That was when was it?
I think it was 96.
That would make sense. Yeah, you're right. City of Angels is 96. Okay, so that movie was pretty funny because they were giving away sneak preview tickets for it.
Yes.
And I had seen The Crow. I'd rented The Crow and I loved The Crow.
Of
So I really
course.
wanted to see a sequel. I'm thinking like this is going to be great. This is going to be fucking awesome. And so I get up in the morning. So 96, I was only 14. I get up in the morning and I take like the city bus literally all the way across Portland to get to this like music store at like 8 o'clock in the morning when they opened to get my tickets for a midnight show for Crow City of Angels. And they never even carded me. I was fucking 14 rolling in to go get this R-rated movie ticket. They didn't care, right? They gave it to me. And then I asked my stepdad to take me to go to the midnight show. And my stepdad was kind of embarrassed by watching the Crow City Angels. He did not he did not care for it at all. Um, you know, and I need to watch it again. It's been a very long time. But I thought like shit like that's
But
always kind of
Judge
funny
Dredd sounds like a good
to
time,
go
though.
back.
That's a good.
Look, it's never a bad time
No.
for Judge Dredd. Okay,
No.
it's just never a bad time for that
Well, both
movie at
versions.
all. And well, I think the 2012 version is a literal 10 out of 10 in my opinion. It really is. The 90s version of that movie I also really enjoy, but for completely different reasons. I enjoy Stallone's Dredd for very similar reasons to why I enjoy Demolition Man. Now, Demolition Man is one I would love to go see in theaters because I didn't see it till it hit home video. But like Demolition Man and Judge Dredd are, I believe, very tonally connected.
Yeah, of course.
Like they come across very tonally connected. It might just be the Rob Schneider connection, or it could just be the fact that they're kind of like
Yeah,
tongue in cheek in certain places.
I could say both.
But it's like it could be both. Hold
Yeah.
on, I'm gonna see. Is Judge Dredd is that streaming anywhere right now? Let me see. I want to see. I kind of want to see if it's streaming because I kind of want to watch it again. I don't know why. I'm in this mood to watch fucking Judge Dredd. Let's see here. Judge Dredd is currently for rent on things. So no. I own that one on I might own that one on DVD. I have
Dredd
to
is
go
on
look for it.
Peacock. Yeah.
2012's Dread's on Peacock? Okay. I don't have Peacock, but I do have Xfinity.
Same thing.
So there's that. Yeah, well, they should give it to me. They should give it to me. Do you guys want to know one of the coolest things I've ever read with Judge Dredd? Okay, so a long time ago, I was interested in like learning how to emulate choose your own adventure, right? Choose your own but seeing if it ever been done like in other ways, because there's like games that have been like Zork and things like that. But I came across this digital copy of a mid 1980s comic called Dice Man. And it was a bunch of different stories, a bunch of different things, like a different, one of them was a Dredd story where literally it was a choose your own adventure, but you used dice to determine where you went.
That sounds cool.
I gotta try to find it again, but like it was really cool. And it actually like inspired me to try to like work on trying to use more dice as like a game of chance in regards to telling some of these stories. You know what I mean? Like I have to try to find it again. But yeah, it's there's some I don't know, like I just would love them to do more with Dredd. And it's terrible that Rebellion, the company that makes the Sniper Elite games, they own the franchise and they've done nothing with it. It's terrible. Terrible, I tell you, terrible. Terrible. It's just absolutely terrible. But I mean, like those are ones I'd like to watch again. Those kind of movies. Like I just remember like the first time I saw Arachnophobia in theaters. I was 93. I was 11 years old, I think, is when that one came out. And that's. Did you guys ever see Arachnophobia?
Nah.
Yeah, I remember. Oh yeah, it's a classic. I remember watching that too.
Oh, 1990. I was 8 when that came out.
I remember seeing.
I was 4.
I remember seeing Inspector Gadget. That movie traumatized the shit out of me.
Yes, I saw that too.
That scared the shit out of me, especially when they did Robo Gadget. Like now looking back on it, that movie was not meant for 4-year-olds. And I had no idea what Inspector Gadget was. I only knew because of the McDonald's toy. It's like, ooh, I want to go see that.
I know that. Well, I knew Inspector Gadget from the cartoon back in the day because I was watching Nickelodeon.
Yeah. And then looking back, it's like this.
I mean, I grew up.
It's not really not.
It's really not. It's really not. I mean, I grew up watching Inspector Gadget, the cartoon show. So for me, I just like kind of laughed at that, when they put out the movie. I actually never saw the movie. I think because when it came out, that was what, that was late 90s or 2000.
Yeah,
right?
1999.
99. Okay. 99. Yeah. Okay. So I was 17 at the time. So it wasn't like I was like not watching those kind of movies. It was just the whole thing of like, oh, okay, I just don't fully um remember like all that stuff and everything else. But there's a lot of like what was I was trying to think of like what movie was it? Like Space Jam. Like I remember seeing Space Jam in theaters and that came out and really enjoying Space Jam. And then of course, have you guys, I'll tell you this one I don't want to watch again is Space Jam 2. That's one I don't want to watch
Oh
again.
yeah, that was. I didn't like Space Jam 2. I like Space Jam 1 though. Yeah,
Yeah, Space
I saw Space Jam
I
2. It was kind of disrespectful what
I
they did
saw
with
it
the movie.
halfway through, and then I was like, you know what? This isn't worth my time. Not worth my
I
time.
mean, my question is why Disney fied the one Looney Tunes where you can just make Looney Tunes where they should supposed to be like they supposed to hate each other, not love each other.
Hmm.
Oh, and what, Looney
Oh
Tunes?
yeah, they
No,
did.
it's
They
a
just
love hate though. It's a love hate though.
yeah. But to tell you the truth, I actually like the first one more than the second one. After watching that,
Wait, I'm sorry. You liked Space Jam 2 more than
no,
Space
I like
Jam?
the first Space Jam. The second one
Oh, okay.
did not enjoy it.
I really don't think anyone out there can look at the second Space Jam and go, you know what? You know what? This was a solid movie. I don't
I
believe
don't
that
think
at
so
You
all.
know, I
either.
wish it was
I
Charles
look at that
Barkley
like
instead of Michael Jordan.
this is not cool.
Charles
No,
Barkley would have
I
been
watched it.
better.
Charles, yeah, Charles Barkley is always better. So that would have been great to see, 100%. I think again, one of the things like when I look at these, when I think back to these flicks I saw as a kid, or just even like when I was younger, like depending on what mood I was in when I went to go see them, like or just kind of reliving some of those fun moments. Like for me, like watching Sandlot for the first time, that movie totally just kind of like took me by surprise by how much I loved it. I saw that I think 3 times in theaters that summer. There was like what was the other okay. Oh no, I'll tell you one. The Matrix, the first Matrix. Going in completely blind to the first Matrix movie. And then when it got to the part with the lobby shootout, that was so intense for me. I was so enthralled by it that I literally had tears. I was crying from how just intense it was as a
Wow.
17-year-old, and I just fucking loved um all that shit. Like, I mean, The Matrix is still one of the best movies ever made, in my opinion. And I like the sequel. I haven't seen Matrix 4 yet, but I did like the other ones quite a bit.
Mhm.
But I feel like movies like that are like, one in kind of like, I don't want to say one in a million, but it takes a lot for, I think, a movie to really kind of be very, what's the word I want to use here? Like, just kind of like memorable and that sticks with you, Like, I remember walking out of, okay, this is going to sound really stupid. But, like, I remember walking out of the Phantom Menace in 1999. And everyone I know was like, "Oh my God," like everyone loved Jar Jar. Let no one ever tell you that everyone hated Jar Jar in '99. That's a lie. Everyone liked Jar Jar for a little bit. He overstayed his welcome pretty quick, but initially everyone liked Jar Jar. But for me, it wasn't Jar Jar, it wasn't Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan or whatever, pod racing or Darth Maul. What got me was Natalie Portman as Queen Amidala. Like, I was crushing hard, dude.
Hey,
I was crushing hard.
I gotta go, but thank you for having me on. I hope to join the next live
Yeah,
space.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
thanks so much, Matt.
Yeah, thanks,
I'll
guys.
be watching.
All right, man. I'll probably go for a few more minutes and then exit 'cause it is getting a little bit late. But yeah, I just wanted to try this out. I don't know if you guys can hear me pretty well or not because I've got this new microphone that I'm using, and I think it sounds pretty decent. So I wanted us to kind of do this for a little bit of just of a conversation and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I was telling you, man, like watching the Phantom Menace for the first time. I would actually love to go back and watch the Phantom Menace for the first time again, not knowing anything about it, go back in and just watch it, because like that's a movie that has just not been good. It didn't like live on as well as you would like it to. It doesn't mean that they weren't trying with some grand ambitions. It doesn't mean that Lucas wasn't attempting to like do something different. It just some things didn't land. And for me, that's always the really funny thing is how that stuff kind of played out. So, all right. There we go. Cool. I was able to anyway, that's something unrelated. But yeah, so I guess if no one else is gonna kind of pop on in, I could talk for a couple more minutes, then I'll dip out. But yeah, I you know what I think the thing is, let me kind of end by talking about why I think seeing movies again for the first time, not knowing anything, can also be a hindrance. And I go back to the Deadpool thing, where I knew about the movie going in. I knew a lot about it going in. And because I knew so much about it, it hindered my experience because it was on my mind the whole time. It wasn't until subsequent viewings that the movie clicked. And I still think to this day, 6 years later, that Deadpool is a 10 out of 10. But like something like Dredd, when I saw Dredd in 2012, I had seen trailers. I knew about the movie. I saw it in 3D on opening weekend because that was the only thing available to me. And within the first like 5 minutes of that movie, I was like, this is a 10 out of 10. And it has stayed at that 10 out of 10 range for me ever since then. You know what I mean? So like some movies you hit right away. Other movies, they take a little bit of time to get to. Some even television shows don't even get there right away. Like when I first started watching Breaking Bad, when Breaking Bad came out, the show didn't do it for me. The first season I thought was dark and just like dreary. And I was like, man, fuck this. I don't care. Like it's just too much for me right now. But then later on, when the seasons dropped on Netflix and we could binge watch them, I binge watched seasons 1, 2, and 3. And by the time I got through those 6 episodes of season 1 and the show kind of recalibrated itself to kind of be more of what it became towards the end, you start to see Vince Gallagher or Vince Gilligan, uh, put together what he wants to do. And then from there, it kind of comes together and it becomes one of the greatest of the greats. So some things maybe don't hit right away. Some things maybe don't launch right away. Look at the Lord of the Rings of Power situation. You've got a whole bunch of people attacking a show that is literally 50 hours of storytelling that we're getting over a 5-year period. And instead of waiting for the story to play out, they are attacking it because they don't like that it's a slow build to get there. Never mind, you've got like a ton of shit happening in the show, but it's like this weird idea that people have, this preconceived notion that people have. And that's just kind of where I'm at with it. It's like, yeah, like let's maybe try to figure out a way to just like, I don't know, maybe like try to be more open-minded on this kind of stuff and dive in a bit more and remove our preconceived notions and then think about what it would be like to go in sight unseen and sit down and watch something for the very first time like we did when we were kids, when maybe all we had was a movie poster or all we had was VHS box art that was never fully indicative of what we were going to see. Because a lot of us who nowadays you've got the Netflix endless scroll, which is is a bit of a problem. But when we were younger, we'd go to Blockbuster and you'd walk through Blockbuster and they had all of these movies, but like what drew you to them was like either they were collected by genre, action, drama, comedy, children, fantasy, whatever. And then or you'd be going through and you would look at the box art and the box art would pull you in, and then you'd read the description and go, oh, this one sounds pretty good. And you would go from there. We don't do that anymore. A lot of it now is more word of mouth, but again, with all the access to information, I believe it comes to be a bit more of an overload, which is why a lot of it I've wanted to like kind of like space myself out a bit from. So I'll give you guys a prime example of that. I finally saw Ghostbusters Afterlife last night and I loved it. And the movie came out, was supposed to come out 2 years ago. It came out a year ago. I didn't see it right away. I don't really remember why I didn't see it right away. But when I finally sat down to watch this, I knew about the two spoilers. Like I knew who the villain was, and I knew about the cameos at the end. So I knew about that because people on YouTube had spoiled that in their thumbnails. However, having taken enough time away from that, when I sat down to watch the movie, I knew it was coming and it didn't impact me in the way that, like, I should say I wasn't angry at knowing that it was spoiled. Um, because even if I would have gone to see it sight unseen in theaters, I think I would have known that they would have been in it. If they were in, the 2016 movie, which we shall not talk about, then we know that they would be in this as well. So that is just one of those things where I just go, yeah, it's like you can know about it, but it doesn't mean it's going to take away from what you see. And I would love it if we would spend more time getting excited about something because we have a genuine interest in it and not because we either have to, like, it's some tribalistic thing, or it's like we feel we have to be excited for the next big, like, tentpole movie or whatever. But it's like, I just want to get, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting older. Maybe it's a midlife crisis thing. I got no fucking idea. But like, I envy my kids because, like, my kids can sit there and watch movies that I grew up with and enjoy them for, like, the first time. But then at the same time, as their dad, I get to sit down with them and enjoy showing it to them for their first time and seeing their unfettered reaction to what exactly it is that inspired me and wowed me when I was their age. And that's the other side of it that's pretty cool. But I don't know. I think we all have one we want to go back to just to experience it again. And at the end of this, because I'm going to wrap this thing up, I have to say that I think that for me would be probably The Matrix, just because of how it made me feel when I went to go see it. And when I went to go see it a week after that, it was still exciting. It was still exhilarating. It was still amazing, but it wasn't that experience. It wasn't, I couldn't replicate how I felt. And that is something I'll never be able to replicate. But I can still have that in my memory and I can still enjoy it when I watch it again. So if you're catching this on the replay, please let me know, like, what movies you want to see again for the first time. And if you guys want more of these spaces, let me know, and I'll definitely try to do more of them. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you very much, HBarts, for the comments. I appreciate that, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great night, whatever time you watch this, and peace out.